Hey guys, Sundown here. This is going to be my chapter review to One Piece 903, The Fifth Emperor. Now, oh my god, this chapter was really awesome. It was an awesome chapter, so I really enjoyed this chapter, and I think a lot of you guys did too. It's a good wrap up to Whole Cake Island and really just completely finishing off that storyline, and it's a good lead into Reverie and then obviously Wano Kuni. Now, the chapter itself dropped as a surprise to me because I was led to believe that it was Golden Week, and it doesn't really seem to be Golden Week at all. I mean, like, we had One Punch Man, we have One Piece now, and we have Boku no Hero Academia that's already out, but I'll be reviewing that tomorrow, as a lot of you guys already know. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be Golden Week at all, so maybe next week, or maybe I was just completely wrong. So let me know if it's Golden Week or whether it's not Golden Week. I mean, I could just Google search it, but I can't be bothered. So the chapter starts with the cover page, which is now following Olympus and his crew, and I thought it's pretty cool. We don't know too much about Olympus, so I'd love to see exactly what's going on with him, but I thought it's pretty cool how the flagship's main sail has a number 4 before the word Tamaria, so part of the word, so hence, it means Yonta Maria, so that's the name of the crew, I think it is. The Yonta Maria, because of the name, 4 is Yon in Japanese. So, and also the ships behind have the number 3 on the mainsail, which would be Santa Maria. And I was like, hey, and then someone actually mentioned that in the manga stream comments as well, and I was like, this guy I recognize too. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, the chapter starts with Luffy and Chopper both begging Sanji not to get rid of his new possession, which is a raid suit. Apparently, Luffy found it in his pocket, and Sanji suspects that Niji slipped it in to Luffy's pocket while they were getting away, and feels that his brother is looking down on him kind of like one last time, whereas I saw it as Niji just kind of giving it to him as a parting gift, like, this is our last gift to you, we've been like horrible family members for the last however many years, this is our parting gift to you, and kind of take it as a hint that we don't really hate you. So, I mean, like, from what they did, and even when Sanji came back and they recruited him back just to marry Pudding, they were still assholes to him then, so it's not really something that takes away from what they've done to him, but it was just a nice gift, and I thought it was a really cool way for them to part ways. And I'm actually really hyped about this development, because I know that somewhere down the line Sanji will use his raid suit if he's in possession of it. Luffy and Chopper joke about Sanji popping lasers because of his raid suit, but I'm sure he'll receive a major buff if he uses it, enabling him to make more use of himself than he did in the entire Whole Cake Island arc, which he pretty much he was just there for the shits and giggles. I mean, it was the year of Sanji, but he didn't really do anything in the Whole Cake Island arc. Nami then decides to weigh in on this scientific discussion, summoning Zeus out of her climate act, and this was also another hype development for me, because it's something I'm actually really happy about when you consider that, as soft and fluffy as Zeus is, he provides a considerable buff for Nami, especially paired with her knowledge of weather and how to utilize Zeus's powers in particular. So that's a very big buff, I think, for Nami, and it's going to be amazing to see her in combat now. So with Sanji shouting at Luffy and Chopper about mentioning the German and the name Vinsmoke, which he doesn't really want to hear anymore, a news crew arrives and delivers the newspaper to Carrot. She notices Luffy's picture on the front cover, so she's like on the front page, and so she jumps down from the crow's nest to share whatever information is in the paper. Now, I liked here how Carrot and I like how actually Carrot is always in the crow's nest, waiting for the crew to just ask her to join. That's essentially going to be her role. She's going to be the spy in the crow's nest. So Luffy obviously asks upon Carrot's dissension. Yeah. What happened to Jinbei? Do we know? Does the newspaper mention anything about what happened to Jinbei after they left Whole Cake Island? But all the paper mentions is that Luffy, Sanji, Beige, and Jinbei tried to assassinate Big Mom. And some wanted posters actually drop out of the newspaper, and we see Sanji's first. So Sanji's bounty has increased from 177 million to 330 million berry, and that's an 86% increase, a huge increase for Sanji. And the best part for Sanji, obviously, is that he is now above Zoro in value by 10 million berry. Now, the bad part is his real name is actually printed on the wanted poster. It says Vinsmoke Sanji, something he wanted to keep hidden. Another point to note is that his poster now says Dead or Alive, meaning Sanji's unique wanted poster has actually come to an end. It's not just alive, it's Dead or Alive. So while all this is going on, Luffy's bounty seems to have gone down by 150 mil. Now I would have been really shocked and like annoyed by this, and the crew are mostly shocked and kind of annoyed by this, seeing this as tarnishing the Straw Hat name, lowering their respectability as a crew. But it was one of those situations where I was 100% not fooled at all. In fact, I knew almost instantly once Luffy had read the number that Luffy had read it wrong. I knew for sure. And after reading One Piece for so long, I was actually pretty shocked by how many people were fooled into this, because I fully whiffed it. I fully whiffed out what Oda was trying to do here. So I knew straight away that Luffy's bounty was not any lower than it had been previously. So the rest of the chapter kind of commenced in a very familiar fashion, with the rest of the world reacting to the news of the Straw Hats' attack on the Big Mom pirates. We have the royalty of Fishman Island glad that Jinbei has finally joined the Straw Hats, but shocked that they took on Big Mom so soon. With this, they realize that it's really time for them to officially declare themselves as kind of a territory of the Straw Hat Pirates. And Shirahoshi at this point in time decides that she's going to go with her family to the Reverie. We then get an exposition kind of propaganda page, which was really awesome. It's actually a few pages. Because it turns out that our boy Morgans kind of went crazy when writing the morning news or whatever it was. He romanticizes the fight against Big Mom, saying her position had not been challenged in decades, but a single young, brave pirate bared his fangs at her after all these years. We then get more Luffy hype from Morgans. He has 7 strong crews flying his banner with 5,000 men at his beck and call. He's talking about Luffy. Morgans reminds the world of Luffy's siblings, Ace, former commander in the Whitebeard fleet, and Sabo, current second in command of the Revolutionary Army. And this was just Morgans really fanboying and really showing his support and elevating Luffy to kind of extraordinary hype levels. So I was like, okay, carry on, Morgans, you do you. Morgans continues. Luffy used his amazing charisma to ally with the Germa, the Sun Pirates, and the Fire Tank Pirates. Not only that, the best part is when Morgans specifically mentions that Luffy used his intelligence to carefully plot against Big Mom, destroying her castle in the process. And what I loved about this was that we saw characters we've known for years reacting to this news, with Crocodile remaining stoic, Cavendish sparkling. We see Dalton and Kureha smiling at Luffy's guts. We see Bartolomeo laughing like a madman. We see Vivi is shook while Pell laughs behind her. But the best reaction was definitely Beige, who realizes that Luffy's being credited for what was essentially almost entirely his plan, and he's just pointing at the paper like, what the this is bullshit. So Morgans then goes even further, showing exactly how much he supports Luffy, telling the world that Luffy even defeated 2 sweet commanders in Cracker and Katakuri. He doesn't mention them by name, but he does mention their bounties. One of 800 mil, one of a bounty of around 800 mil, I think it was slightly over, and one of over 1 billion berries. So he's just like, yeah, Luffy did this, and he declares that with this, the infiltration of the Straw Hats on the Big Mom Pirates was definitely a victory for the Straw Hats. And he also declares Luffy the 5th Emperor of the Seas. Now, I'd like to just clear something up here. As hype as this was, I'm not sure that this means that Luffy is actually an Emperor of the Sea now. I don't think that makes it the Goko or anything like that. It's still the Yonko, and I think this was all really speculation and bias from the mouth of Big News Morgans. Just because he says Luffy is worthy of the title of Emperor doesn't make Luffy an Emperor. You know, it's just a guy writing a newspaper. That doesn't mean Luffy is now part of the Yonko and it's going to become the Goko or anything like that. At least that's what I think, unless this is official news and everyone's going to have to go by this now, in which case that's a bit weird. You know, I didn't expect Luffy to reach Yonko level this quick. But I do think that was just Big News Morgans kind of just vying for Luffy to become an Emperor of the Sea, not really officially stating that Luffy is, according to the Marines, a Yonko now, or part of the Goko or anything like that. So we then see Akainu, who silently reads the newspaper, mulling over what has just transpired. A Marine rushes in and tells him that the Elusha Kingdom's ship has been attacked by pirates and their princess, her name's Komane or something like that, has been kidnapped. Obviously infuriated, Sakazuki's all like, bruh, where the hell is their escort? So we then go on board the ships of the Prudence Kingdom and the Dressrosa Kingdom ships, their royal ships, where we see all the Mandem from the Dressrosa arc. We see Elisabella, we see Riku, Kairos, we see some of the dwarves, the Tantari guys. We see I think that's about it. We see Viola. And Rebecca tells King Riku of Luffy's latest escapades, which excites the Tontari dwarves, as Luffy is their kind of big boss right now. And Riku reminds them that once they arrive at Mareoas, they can't really speak of their affiliation with Luffy at the Reverie meeting. That's not something that would be looked upon very very well. So we then see some pirates in the submarine looking to kind of kidnap Viola. They see her, they're like, yeah, she's hot stuff, let's kidnap her, we'd get a whole bunch of money for her. And we also see that they're already in possession of Princess Komane, so it's the pirates that kidnapped the princess earlier. And it's what the Marine was telling Sakazuki about. And these pirates fire a torpedo at the royal ships, hoping to kidnap, I assume, Viola in the confusion. And suddenly a Marine swimming at a high speed grabs onto this torpedo and diverts its path, saving the royal ships from any damage. And I ain't gonna lie, I was shaking with excitement at that point, because I thought the Marine was Ryokugyu or Green Bull. I was like, oh my god, it's Green Bull, and with the Marine coat draped over his shoulders, I was so close to just dying for a few seconds. But it turns out it wasn't Ryokugyu. Even though it wasn't Ryokugyu, it was a pleasant surprise to see who the Marine was, because it turns out it was actually Kobe, who is now a captain in the Marines. Just from that little scene, we see really how much stronger he's gotten, but he's also rocking a new look with this with the Marine coat draped over his shoulders and a bandana with goggles on top. I think he might have had the bandana before, but I don't know, it just looked new to me. He looked really fresh, to be fair. So it turns out that Kobe had swum his way ahead of his ship, having sensed the ill intentions of the pirates with his Kenbun Shoku no Haki. And this is told to us by Helmeppo, who is now a lieutenant commander. Helmeppo we're talking about, he seems to have also gotten stronger, taking out the pirate crew without the help of Kobe. But what I'd like to talk about is that Kobe's Kenbun Shoku no Haki has now been trained, and he seems to be very proficient in its use, considering he sensed that torpedo being used quite a while away and managed to swim to it in time to divert it without damaging the royal ships at all. So he might actually be incredibly proficient in Kenbun Shoku no Haki. I mean, we saw his kind of his natural tendency to that form of haki anyway during the Marineford arc, but he does seem to be incredibly proficient at this moment in time. When Kairos then sees Kobe on the ship, he realizes that Kobe is the famed hero of the Rocky Port incident. Now, I'm not too sure what that's exactly about, but it's awesome to see that Kobe has been making a name for himself within the Marines, and he's earning the respect of not just his peers, but really other strong individuals throughout the Grand Line. So Kobe is flustered when Kairos calls him a hero, but he also notices exactly how strong Kairos is, and he's surprised by how strong this dude with one leg is. Kairos is surprised by how young Kobe is, having imagined a seasoned veteran as the hero of Rocky Port. He also realizes how humble Kobe is, because Kobe doesn't actually take credit for diverting the torpedo. He's just like, oh yeah, it seemed to miss. So Kobe then realizes that Luffy is on the newspaper, leading to him reading it and reminiscing about his friendship with Luffy and what happened all those days ago. And it's here that Rebecca catches on to the fact that Kobe may be a fan of Luffy's, and we know it's a little bit more than that. So page 17 is actually where we see some meaty reactions to Luffy's infiltration on the Big Mom Pirates. So firstly, we see Kaido, who instantly recognizes Luffy as the one who interfered with his smile trait, and he's annoyed, and he's like, oh, this little dickhead. And you can just tell by his face and just his eyebrows and his furrowed brows how annoyed he is with Luffy. And I can't wait for them to get Wano Kuni, because that's going to be an amazing fight. We then see Blackbeard, who seems to be healthy and with the rest of his crew, and I think this is just a little while after their invasion of the island where the revolutionaries, I've forgotten what it was called, but the revolutionary army was on that one island, and then Baltigo. So this is just after their Baltigo visit, and they all seem to be there, so they all seem to be safe. And all Blackbeard really says is that Luffy is not ready for the title of Emperor, while laughing. We then see Big Mom's reaction, and she curses Morgans and Luffy for declaring this voyage of victory, and she's like, this has really tarnished the Big Mom name. And finally we see Shanks alone on some shore, random shore, acknowledging Luffy's strength by saying that they will meet soon, and he's just there with his scars and glowering into the camera, and I'm just like, oh my god, Shanks. Every time we see Shanks, it's always hype. So this page was good for me, just getting just seeing the Yonkos and the Yonko and getting their 2 cents on Luffy's latest adventure. It was quite fun. So the chapter then ends with Brook telling Luffy he had misread his own bounty, and the entire crew proceeds to shit themselves as they realize that Luffy's bounty is not 150 million berries, it's 1.5 billion berry. And oh my god, I mean, like, I knew I was expecting it, because I was fully expecting Luffy to have misread his bounty. But even then, I was like, oh my god, he has demolished his previous bounty. He's gone up by way more than 100%. And what an awesome way, like I said before, to begin the Revelry arc and wrap up Whole Cake Island. So that was the end of the chapter. That's all I have really to say. I don't think it's Golden Week. So let me know what you guys thought of the chapter. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in a bit.